Hello everyone and welcome back to another great super cool radio interview. I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I start talking about my guests, just a quick reminder to thumbs up this video and make sure to subscribe and turn that notification bell. That way you don't miss any new interviews or episodes. I got an incredible guest who will be joining me momentarily. He is the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist for Taproot, Stephen Richards. This year, Taproot announced their first club shows in 6 years, starting on September 29th, and they're going to release a brand new album entitled Scissors on September 29th. In this interview, we talk about all things Taproot. We discuss so much, including the new album Scissors, the upcoming tour, and so much more. I hope you enjoy this interview, so let's dive in. Before we jump into the show, I want to tell you about our merch store on Threadless. Shop a wide variety of logos with multiple colors and sizes available for each design. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps us continue to make killer content like this episode. Please visit supercoolradio.threadless.com or the link in the description to shop now. I got a great guest joining me at this time, and I'm very excited to chat with him. This year, Taproot announced their first club shows in 6 years, plus they released a new album entitled Scissors on September 29th. Please welcome the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist for Taproot, Stephen Richards.
Hello, the crowd goes wild.
But dude, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As I said before this interview, Taproot's got a bunch of great stuff going on right now, and I know we got a ton of great things to discuss.
Yeah, there's out of nowhere. I was just doing some stuff on my own for a couple years, trying to get some old stuff done, and then boom, now we're playing shows left and right, and I don't know how we're doing this. It's going to be pretty pathetic. It's going to take a while to get our legs.
So how are you training? How are you going to get the stamina and the muscle memory back?
Working on the muscle memory currently. I have my baritone guitar. It sucks because on the new record, I tuned it a different way than I used to tune it, but when we're playing live, I'm playing the old tunings, so I think I'm going to have to go back to the old tunings and relearn how I used to play it for the songs I'm playing live. But as far as a group, I think we're just trusting each other on, practicing at home. I'm working with Taylor a little bit, our new guitarist, just to make sure that, he knows which parts are his and which parts are mine, and then obviously listening to the music. It's hard to understand, but the way I wrote most of the guitar riffs, I'm a drummer first, and so a lot of my guitar riffs are hard for people to understand. It's weird to say. Like, I'm surprised that Mike could for the entire time, because some of the best guitarists I've ever met don't get my hammer-on style with the heavy chording. It's weird.
I got you. I know we just discussed a bunch of great stuff I was going to cover throughout this interview, but the biggest thing I did want to ask is, because I've heard in other interviews and from a few other people that all this came together very quickly. So, like, when did things start falling into place for the upcoming tour and the album?
Oh, God, I couldn't name a date. Well, I've been working on this record for over 6 years on my own. I did the whole thing on my own. I wrote the record to be Taproot's next record after the episodes, and this is over a decade ago. So I've been, working the normal job, having a family. I've only been able to work 4 hours a week for like 6 years. But the stuff kind of randomly came. It was weird. Like a year ago, Phil texted me and asked if we wanted to play a show in May, and it was like January at the time. I didn't realize shows were being booked like over a year ahead now. Like for me, it was always 3 months, 4 months, maybe at the top. And so, we kind of declined, thinking, I don't think we'll be ready to go play a huge show in 3 months. And it turns out it was a year and 3 months. So then we got offered the Blue Ridge Rock Fest, which they finally announced the full lineup and the dates and the bands today. So that's pretty exciting. We're getting to play on the Saturday, but Phil's the one that got the call on that. Phil's kind of the business guy, even when we're not doing anything currently. He's the guy that kind of stays on top of just the random income that it's not a lot, but so Phil's the business guy, so he got the offer for the Blue Ridge, and then with the record thing, went to a guy that we've known for a long time. I was just going to release this stuff on my own, maybe to a couple thousand friends and fans that follow me on Instagram and stuff. But Phil knew the material. I had the demos back when we were on tour of most of the songs, and he loves most of the songs. And, he thought it wasn't really cool for me to just kind of wipe my butt and throw it out there on my own. Since it was written for Taproot. And so he was like, no, dude, like this has to be the next Taproot record. That's what it was written for. Even though I did everything on my own, he's the one that kind of got behind it. And then we have a guy that's kind of managing us named Tom, who we've known for years and years and years. And he's the one that's been kind of, doing the publicity and having people join the team. And he's the one that's kind of throwing every show that he can possibly find our way. But we're not going to be able to do like a 2-month nonstop tour by any means, but we're doing a Weekend Warrior thing for a good 4 months, I think. So kind of came about that way. I mean, we've been really busy the last couple months, but up until then it was just kind of random shows here and there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know, Tom Hazard, I actually had him on my show last season.
Right.
Really cool dude. And I know we had a really great conversation. So I saw you, obviously with THC with you guys.
Yeah.
Who reached out to who for that to work with Tom?
I'm not exactly sure. Well, it's weird because it all started to me, it was just random. Phil hit me up saying like, hey, Volatile wants to make prints of Taproot skateboards. I'm like, okay, sweet, I guess. If anyone wants to buy a Taproot skateboard, I don't know how many boarders or fans, but then it turned into like old school merch and like shirts and just recreating the old stuff for, because new metal seems to be the theme of the year. It seems like it's a huge comeback. So we kind of went with that. So I'd assume that Tom probably reached out to Phil because we've known Tom forever, but I have a buddy who's been trying to get me to talk to Tom for years and years and years. Never happened, but then it came my way. So Phil and Tom were already talking. Phil approached me with maybe working with Tom with the music stuff, which is cool, but I'm not sure if Tom reached out to Phil or Phil reached out to Tom. I'm guessing Tom reached out to Phil.
No, I was just curious. I know Tom is many different endeavors he's on. I know obviously Volatile Skateboards. He's part of Puck Hockey as well. He's got a lot of great stuff that he's a part of. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it's really cool because we've known him over the years as like the guy with dreads and a beard. He's been around forever at every show, at every concert we've ever played. Never got to know him personally that well. Like we'd hang out and stuff, but now it's kind of cool getting to know him. And like he's a hard worker and very helpful, and he's just trying to help us out, which is appreciated. Again, like I said, this was just going to be something really small, and it's turning into something mediocre.
Well, that's sure words. I wouldn't say that, but
well, that's the thing is back when. Like new metal, and then there was like deathcore and hardcore and all just the cores and stuff. And people would ask like, "What do you consider yourself?" And I was like mediocre.
Honestly, I like that. That's funny at least.
Yeah, fair enough.
But another thing, you guys had another release just very recently. That some people are kind of glossing over, but I did want to talk about it. You guys released. Best of the B-sides. Mm-hmm. That's more of like demos and things of that nature. So how was it like putting together that collection of demos?
Well, it was Jared did like an 8-disc set just for people that just wanted to like hear stuff, because they haven't heard from us in a while. They knew I was doing a record, but it's taken forever. So Jared just had the idea like, hey, here's our entire thing. I mean, we worked on like 60 songs just for Blue Sky Research, and a lot of it are just like me playing demos in my basement in my mom's house and stuff. So they're really bad, almost humiliating, but I'm sure pretty cool for people to hear. So Jared released that maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. And then Tom, when he got on board, he's just grabbing the bull by the horns, and he's basically like taking, hey, let's make this disc with 2 songs, and this one with 7, this one with 5. He's going like crazy. But the best of besides is, songs that should have been on records and or were recorded for records but didn't make the records, and or like decent demos that I had done involving Mike at some points, like from home and stuff. And I think that's cool. As far as choosing, I'm not sure, but one of the songs I fought for is called Angel, and then I finally got a copy of it 2-3 days ago. Like, I haven't heard it because it's mastered, and like the stuff, you can't imagine how bad it sounded before they mastered it. But I'm surprised how good mastering can work, not with having like the actual session open, but just kind of boosting different levels to what you're hearing. And it's pretty cool. So there was a song Angel that I thought was like really important to have because the lyrics are dope and the chorus is just like Alice in Chains ripoff, but really good lyrics. But then I was listening the other night. I'm like, we did a live thing. We're doing live things on Tuesdays on Facebook, just a couple of us guys. And that was like the intro. And I'm just sitting there like, oh God, why'd I pick this song? Until the chorus comes on, it takes like 2 minutes to get there. But, I think it was Tom picking out what he thought was the best. And after having them mastered, it's really cool for me to hear because to me, I remember playing those songs in my mom's bedroom, or not my mom's bedroom. That's creepy. My mom's house in my bedroom. That sounded really
good to clarify.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, we're just going to jam for a minute. Beat it.
So, how do you know, like, what is like the oldest demo that is on that album?
Oh, I don't think it's on Best of Besides, but on the Besides, we did a 3-song demo, which is before we even had a drummer. At the very beginning, Mike and I thought it would be really crazy to just have. Most people don't know that Taproot, I was the original drummer with, it was like kind of a local, great, whatever you want to call it, like best of bands. Our singer was the singer of 20 Dead Flower Children, who did pretty well. Our bassist was a guy named Dan from Mad Hops, who did pretty well. And I was the drummer. They lived too far away to want to keep rehearsing and stuff, so I got forced into singing. I'm a drummer at heart, and it sucks. I haven't got to play constant in decades, and that's what I love and want to do. But so we did a 3-song demo, and I think they're all on Besides. One is called Negative Reinforcement, one is Clueless, and one is Low Life. And back then, Mike and I thought it would be really cool. It's not the most original idea, but we knew we were like a heavy band, and that's before, Durst and Biscuit took our formula for having drum machine on the verses and then live drums kick in for the choruses. But we thought it would be really cool to just have 2 or 3 of us rocking like crazy, going nuts, but not having a live drummer. Just have it look weird, but still be like, yeah. But that didn't work out. I screwed up. I'm a dumbass. So on the very first show, I unplugged the drum machine thinking if I plugged it back in, it would, kind of pick up where it left off. Now it just like stopped. But I've always been that way. I'm just a wanderer, and I like to have fun. I don't take it as serious as I should on stage. It's fun.
Well, I mean, it's one of the main reasons someone should do something is because, especially performing on stage should be fun. Now, with that kind of stuff, at least it makes a good story with everything. But I can definitely understand that with everything. But are you still having fun with the music up until present day?
Yeah. I mean, I've been sitting on the same new record for the last 6 years, playing the same thing. Like literally, I haven't got to listen to modern music. I don't listen to like radio or know what's going on with music, because when I get in the car, I'm just listening to like, what did I do to the last mix? And then it's like, oh, this sounds great. And then I go back in like, oh, what did I do again? Ugh. So I've been only judging my own material and then listening to a local funny comedy show and stuff. But I honestly love the material. I know everyone, whether it's Gift, Welcome, or Blue Sky, which are the only 3 records people know about. We've done 3 after that. There's songs that will appeal to everyone for sure. A couple songs that will appeal, like, why didn't you play this song live? Like, to me, that's an album track. It means a lot. The lyrics are sweet and the riffs are kind of cool, but they're not as cool as like the main 5. But so I'm happy with that. I haven't written like a brand new thing since probably 6 years ago. I lost feeling in my right arm. I had an accident protecting my baby's head. So luckily I had the guitars done and I can play the bass with the 2 fingers I can feel. So I got to wrap the record up fairly okay. There's a song that has an acoustic and guitar solos, and I was dropping picks left and right. So that is edited to holy crap. Actually, the solo was fine, but strumming the thicker acoustic strings, drop and pick. So that's edited like a mofo. So don't get me wrong. It's not completely natural the whole way through.
No, I got you. So so kind of moving forward with that, with your arm injury, are you able to perform live, or are you going to have are you going to be able to do that, or are you just going to stick to singing?
I'm pretty sure I can do it. After this long, I still can't feel my ring finger and my pinky all the way up to my elbow, but my thumb and index and middle, I've learned that I can trust the strength. It's kind of weird feeling, but of, the last month or 2 when I've been picking up the guitars for the first while, like, can I do this? I've been able to do it. The tuning's more of my biggest concern.
Yeah, I know, as you mentioned, with the kind of the different tuning you have on the, this album compared to the older tuning you have on that one. But I do hope everything does work out. You get everything all situated and all that stuff. But so for you, how long has it been like for you to kind of, build up like that trust that you can play the guitar with those fingers?
Quite a while. Excuse me. Sorry. Drinking early. There we go. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I've just been, again, so involved in judging my mixes and trying to get it ready to master, which I'm pretty close. We mastered. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Or Allah, or whatever you believe in. I've been so involved in not playing of late. So it's been like, I literally just brought my guitars home maybe 2 months ago to start like playing. And then it was a couple days ago that I started playing along with songs. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually better at remembering the guitar parts than I am the lyrics. Like, oh crap. Because we're learning like 30 new songs, like if we're playing headline sets, we usually play 15, 16. So those are the most ones you want to know. Maybe rotate 1 or 2 in if people go, 2 in a row. But we're doing the Machine Shop in Detroit for the record release 3 days in a row. It's like, we should probably learn like 5 or 6 more songs to rotate if people are going to all 3, So there's a lot going on. And we're adding stuff that we've never played before just to be like, whoa, that's cool. And I don't listen to those songs and remember lyrically.
No, I know I got you, especially to have that huge you got a whole discography to really pick from, especially with the songs that you may not have performed in a very long time, or it does, you kind of have to relearn your own song. I've had other people tell me that as well. If they haven't played a song in very, very long time, they actually have to like relearn their own song that they wrote and recorded.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Well, a lot of it's weird. A lot of the muscle memory comes back, and I know all the lyrics, but I'll sing like part of the second verse on the first because it all rhymes. But then I'm like, wait a minute, oh God, all right, because I remember everything. It's just scattered. So I don't know, but I'm doing okay. And shit, we have 6 months to fucking do it.
Yeah, you have plenty of time for right now. So
we're good to go. Yeah, we'll be fine.
And before we start talking about the upcoming tour, I did want to talk about, because you already have mentioned him already, and that is Taylor Roberts, writing with Killers, who's your now full-time guitarist for Taproot. Mm-hmm. How is he selected to be the guitarist for Taproot?
He lives in Michigan. It's a joke. Well, he does, but no, he was in a band called Catharsis that used to open for us, like when we were down in the South. Like, great band. Obviously, he's a great guitarist, and then he ended up like helping us as like a guitar tech for a while. So we've known him for a long time too. And he did end up in Michigan. Phil's been in touch with him, personally and stuff. And it was just kind of an easy go-to pick. Dave Lizio, that used to be in Nonpoint, has been the one playing shows with us, the random shows for the last couple of years that we've done for like anniversaries and just one-offs. He was amazing, but he'd have to fly in and then have to learn all this stuff too, and we'd probably have to rehearse a lot more. So I can work with Taylor locally, and just every once in a while. We still have a lot of time, like I said. But he's obviously great. And my favorite part is, for the longest time, since Jared's been gone, I haven't had live harmonies. And obviously I'm all about harmonies and 3 parts. So I've been trying to like kind of go up and down and make it sound like different stuff's going on. But Taylor is a killer singer. Writing with Killers is great. And so at least I've got not just a great guitar player, I've got harmonies coming your way too. So that makes me so happy. So he's the guy for sure.
Well, I'm really glad he's a really great fit. I heard a friend told me about Writing with Killers probably about a year ago. And I was checking them out. I was like, oh, this is a really cool band. And then I saw these part of you guys. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Really happy for him. Really great dude. And, a killer musician as well. Yeah,
no, he's awesome. He's really cool. Like it was like a week ago was the first time we were doing, like signing all the CDs that need to be shipped out and stuff. So Phil was coming to town, just to do that, brought his bass. And then we were like, well, Taylor, you want to come to this? And that's when we started actually talking about stuff. And it was the first time I've seen him in a while. We've talked, like through Instagram or whatever. But it was the first time to hang out and actually just like kind of play and talk. And here's what we're thinking and all that. So that was really cool. And that just happened, for the first time a while ago. But he and I are going to get together, sporadically over the next 5 years before our first show.
Well, I'm glad, as I say, very happy. He's a great fit for the band, and you guys getting getting along very well. And you have, 5 to 6 months or 5 years,
Right.
Time is irrelevant to some degree anyway. So,
yeah, speed varies. It depends on how fast you're going.
Exactly. Now, I did want to talk about, since we've mentioned the upcoming tour. So before we start talking about that, the first 3 shows are at the Machine Shop. They sold out very quickly. I know it was originally supposed to be like 1 or 2, and then those sold out, so they added a third. Did you expect that kind of crowd response for when you guys announced this tour?
Not to be conceited whatsoever, because that's not me, but that's our go-to home spot. So it didn't surprise me. The last couple times we've done shows, randomly, people just want to catch it. So we've got people coming from all over the world, and we would have sold the first 2 out just being the local band, like not like, oh, whoopity-doo, but the third one was added and sold out. I'm kind of surprised the third one sold out. It took a while. The first 2 went like that. But the third one, even if we didn't sell out, it's all about playing for our friends and fans anyway. It turned out to be sold out, but that doesn't matter to me. The thing that matters to me is that it is kind of the CD release party on the first night, which also happens to be on my wife's birthday. So that could be good or bad.
I'm hoping good for you. I'm hoping good.
Me too. It's just gonna, there's gonna be a lot of fans that we want to spend time with, who we already know, even the ones coming from Europe and California and, from all over the place. We stay in touch with a lot of our fans, because I don't have many friends. So getting to talk to people that support me and understand whatever the hell I'm whining about in my songs that they relate to, that's kind of cool to have a connection, because I don't write stories. I just bitch and moan about my life, and people understand that. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'll have 3 days of that.
Yeah, no, for sure, and have that connection with that audience, especially, it's always very important, as you already touched on. But to have that and have people, flying out from, other countries and California, which, farther away, far away as well. So I'm glad, and again, 3 sold out shows in the Machine Shop. I hope you have a really great time, and hopefully everything works out with your wife's birthday as well.
We'll have more fun at the show part for sure. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen.
So for you, because I already know you kind of touched on the set list of it. You're going to be throwing in some older songs, some songs you guys haven't played in a while. But for you, do you have a favorite song to perform live?
I mean, it's pretty stupid to say, but obviously when we close with Poem, like the biggest hit, that's not necessarily my favorite one because it's that song, but the interaction and the craziness is awesome, so I enjoy it. There's a song that we don't play much that we are going to be playing at least 1, maybe 2 of the shows called Lost in the Woods. It's a harder one to play because I hate playing guitar at the same time, and it's one of the ones where it's actually cool. It's one of the songs that Billy Corgan wrote the guitar lick for. We changed it, but he's the one that inspired the riff. He actually wrote most of the basic guitar riff for us. Like, he thought about it and was like, this is what I think you guys should play. Because we did, like 5 or 6 songs, 5, with Billy Corgan, who obviously that's an amazing thing to put on our resume to have worked with him. So that song's really special to me. The lyrics are about one of the numerous times my mom was in the hospital. So the lyrics are very personal, but a lot of people relate to them. We don't play it much live, so I look forward to doing it, because when we do, we have fans that really enjoy it. It's just not one of those, go-to songs, like we have other, like Smile and, heavier songs that we usually do. So it's gonna be different for these shows. It's gonna be cool.
It definitely sounds like it, especially with that song, with obviously the lyric meaning, but also the having Billy Corgan, the basic part of it as well. Sounds to be really cool. It sounds like, I know you guys have been going very, very much through the set list, adding a lot of different songs from past years, plus the new music you guys have, which I kind of went a little out of order this interview. I do want to talk about the new album.
Yeah, dude, I'm just rambling on with the longest answers ever, so I apologize.
Hey, no, you're doing. Hey, you're fine. No worries. I was going to talk about the new album first. So we kind of went, a lot of different ways, but we talked about a lot of great stuff for Taproot. So I do want to talk about the new album, Scissors, which drops on September 29th. I heard that you wrote and recorded this entire album. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Most of them were demos that I did, like, over a decade ago, to be the next record after we were touring on the episodes. And that's one of the things that people don't realize when I kind of get unknown value for doing a lot of the material. Like, we released Our Long Road Home in 2007, and the episodes was written before that. So literally, for the most part, I've been the main and pretty much only contributor since 2007. And people don't know that. And people don't know that I write most of the guitar riffs that they like. And there's a reason that come the second record, which was very different than the first, very, metal and guitar heavy. There is a reason I got stuck playing guitar and singing live, because I needed to bring something to the table that kind of filled out the sound, and I've been playing guitar and singing live ever since. So
I got no. Were you able to play drums on this album?
Here's the BS part. I've been drumming since I was 4. So everything you hear on drums is something I played on the demos, but only with like 4 microphones. I didn't have like a big, huge setup. It was in my basement where we rehearsed and stuff. So, sorry, I do know how to play the parts, and I have before. I even reposted something just so people would kind of see me playing a song. I actually ended up playing 5 bars of the song perfectly on time without a click or the track. Like it was just me, muscle memory, and knowing the song for so long, but it's me drumming, just to show people like, oh yeah, he can play drums. And I've played drums a lot. I've played drums for other bands, just guest drummed on their, like Reveille, Pulse Ultra. I've sat down and played drums with the other bands. But the note and answer to your question, which is actually kind of a good thing, I programmed the drums. I flew in my demo drums and then just looked at what was being played, and then it's totally just addicted drums. So that is BS. It's not me playing drums the entire record, but it is based off the beats that I wrote and played. And the reason I enjoyed that, I've spent 6 years just doing these. I can't imagine if I tried to do live drums, take after take, run to one room and then back to spacebar and then back to the other room. Oh, I fucked up, back to the spacebar. That wouldn't have worked. But the best part to me is it's like consistent. Like it's the same level, it's the same tone. You can alter it if you want to, but it's kind of like I got it how I like it to sound. And then obviously I'm not going to nail everything 100%. I mean, I slid a couple things off so it sounds real, but it's pretty right on. That would have been very difficult. So I can drum. I've drummed since I was 4 years old. I was the original drummer of Taproot when we first started, but it's bullshit if I said I played drums on this record. The demos, yes, but no, the record's programmed. So I'll give you that honesty.
Well, I appreciate. I was just curious because I know we were talking about drumming at the beginning of this interview, but I appreciate the honesty. But it makes it makes the most sense, and it was based off. You weren't just like programming the program. You're based off what you originally did in the demos as well.
Oh yeah, and I know a lot of the stuff I enjoy listening to when I occasionally listen to modern music nowadays. I know for a fact that's programmed, and then the drummers learn it, I guess, but because it sounds good and it's on time. I would never hit stuff on time. I haven't played consistent drums in so long. I used to be so good. Now, I can play the same stuff, but I wouldn't be able to do it like one take by any means.
No, yeah, for sure. I got you. I was just curious, and that's why I asked. But I do want to. I am curious. I've heard you released VIP recently, and so kind of what can people expect from the album, like musically and lyrically? Is VIP kind of a good indication of that, or is there going to be thrown in some other things as well?
VIP was literally intentionally written to be. We always used to open with a song called "Smile" from our first record, Gift, because it's got our normal Taproot swing rhythm, lots of screaming. People are just going to start moshing right off the bat. But we're so old nowadays, and our fans, like, I don't know if they're just going to stand there with their phones, which they probably will, and then I'm just going to be like, what do? I used to go out and mosh. But VIP was intended to be the new live opener. So if enough people seem to know the song, that's what we're going to open with most of the time. Not every time. But I wrote that to be the opening of the record. It is not representative of the entire record at all. I only did low tuning on 2 of 10 songs, like the baritone that I tell you I might have to relearn different old riffs on. Only 2 of them are baritone. So those were intentional, heavy songs. But the main single that I think can be a little bit more mainstream is more kind of like Poem, where I think people will literally understand the lyrics, and there's not one person that can say that they've sang along with a song at one point and didn't know all the lyrics. And that's what a song that I wrote called Favorite Song is about, singing along with your favorite song, but not quite knowing all the lyrics and kind of BSing your way through it. So that's what that song's about. And I think it is a good song. And we do have a guest on that. We have Elias from Nonpoint is a guest on the middle of that song. So I think that one will stand out too. But there's, like I said, there's an acoustic song. We have a local really good country artist named Audrey Ray that Tim, that used to produce us, who was the guy nice enough to let me use the Loft studio for the last 6 years. I've did a dumbass, I hate the fact that I did it, but I did a fundraiser to at least help, kind of thank him for 6 years of electricity and computer time. But Audrey Ray is on one of the songs. It's not a country song, but that's the song that I played acoustic, and I actually did 2 solos. So it's probably the first record by Taproot you hear solos on. I am not a shredder. It's an acoustic song, but I did my best to emulate CeCe DeVille from Poison, because he can get away with being, a solo guy, but he's not like, modern day shredders.
I got you. It sounds like it's gonna be very diverse with the upcoming album. We got a lot of different things. So I definitely look forward to listening to the whole thing when it's available on September 29th. I dug VIP. I like the style of that, and I definitely look forward to listening to the whole album as well.
I think I want to remaster that. I'm not totally happy with it. But one thing that I didn't say was this record is so old that when I wrote it, obviously my voice is just going to sound annoying as fuck anyway. I still write riffs the same way, which is cool for our fans. But sitting down when I wrote the record, I literally was like, Tool's not doing anything. Let me try to write a Tool song. It's going to sound like me either way, but something that sounds like Tool. System of a Down, Slipknot, Deftones. Go through the whole gamut, because no one was doing anything at that time. They were all done. Since then, they've all done shit. So this is just going to be new Taproot. Like, I was trying to maybe I can write some stuff to appeal to their fans that haven't heard anything in a while. And then since then they've done stuff. So it's just new Taproot.
Yeah, they've all gotten back together and done tours, but at least, it is Taproot music. It's new Taproot music. Now, I was curious, you did talk about when you started working on this album, what was the newest note or track or song that was included on Scissors?
VIP, dude, the acoustic one that I talk about with solos and acoustic and the country artist, I actually wrote that song in 2006 or 7 with the X. The lyrics are great. The lyrics are so good that almost 2 decades or whatever, 12, 15 years ago, I actually trademarked the lyrics, because it's literally Hallmark claims that they don't take submissions for cards, but I guarantee it would be a huge, the lyrics are really deep and pretty quick. It's not like you have to think about it, but I'm going to leave that be until people get to hear it. So that one's that old, but the newest ones I wrote, VIP was one of them. And then I wrote a song called Ma, and that was after my mom passed away. So that one's really important. It's pretty different. It's really cool. But those are the 2 newest, because like I said, probably 7 of the 10 I'd already written. The guys had heard on demos and stuff. So probably only 2 or 3 have been written since, in the last 6 years. But VIP is one of the last ones, because I was like, we need an opener, or I needed an opener for the record. I didn't think we'd be playing the stuff live. But so that's my go-to opener type of style. Swing beat, some screaming, some melody, but the guitar riff has to be cool and slam you in the face. So I like that. And then my mom's song after she died, that was, really important and different too. And that's a really cool song that people, even if you have surviving family members, will be like, wow, that's fucking sweet or strong.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I know people will definitely connect with that, for a few different reasons for that as well. But Steven, I really appreciate you hanging out here on Super Cool Radio. We kept you a little bit longer, but I really appreciate chatting with you. And I know, best of luck with you have the tour coming up. You have the new album come up. So what's kind of the plans after this tour and album for Taproot? Do you guys plan on doing more after this, or what are you kind of thinking?
I think that's to be determined. We'll have to figure out. We're just doing the Weekend Warrior stuff right now. We're not going to be able to do the 2-month, 3-month tour, 6 nights a week. Just with, we all have kids and families now, and a lot of bands can do that, but we got to keep our jobs to stay afloat. So the whole reason that the whole thing is called Scissors was because I'm literally, if you look at your screen, I wrote that name just because it's a dumbass play on words, but my initials are SSR and my last name ends with an S. And I always go by hockey nicknames. Hockey players always had nicknames, and I was Scissors. So I named it that way for my future endeavors, whatever I do. So it might be a Taproot record next again that I write to be, or if I just do one-off songs and, want to do new stuff every once in a while, then I'll release it as Scissors, not as Taproot, because this record was written for Taproot, but as of now, anything I write will just be, from me for whoever.
Oh, very, very cool. Well, I definitely look forward to seeing kind of, whenever you decide to release music or do anything, I definitely look forward to seeing that as well. But Stephen Richards, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a really great time chatting with you. I'll leave some links for Taproot in the description of this podcast. New album Scissors will be out on September 29th. For Stephen Richards of Taproot, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.
Frosty, nice. Sorry for the long answers.